Everyone, welcome to It's Sybil. I am Sybil Wilkes, and on this day, we welcome two-thirds of the team. We welcome back social justice activist Coy Malone. How are you, Coy?
Hey, I'm pretty good,
Got-
despite things.
uh,
Things.
okay, all right. And how you doing, Chris Paul?
I'm doing good. How about you, Sybil?
I'm good, thank you very much. What's going on, Chris? How are things out on the road? That's what I wanted to know from you.
Everything is great. Everything is great on the road. We're off this week, though. We get to hang out at home.
Okay, for the holiday
Yeah,
and all of that. Good for you.
which is good. I'm still not totally comfortable on airplanes and stuff. It's still
Mm.
weird. And now people are breaking the rules on the plane. They're wearing their masks hanging down below their nose, and
Hmm.
flight attendants don't give a damn.
Nobody's saying anything. Well, I
Yeah,
think people are afraid now because you just never know how on edge that person is going to be, right?
right. But I mean, I live in
Right.
Virginia. Nobody's wearing a mask anymore.
Yeah.
You go to the grocery
Yeah.
store, wherever you go, it's just mask free.
Wow. Well, we'll talk about that in a little bit too. That might be changing in some particular cities. Already, we're seeing a move in that direction. Coy, what's going on?
Yeah. Everything and nothing is going on. So
Okay.
much is going on in the last week. It just took me a minute to kind of process what was going on and then how I needed to handle it. And
Okay.
because of how much work that I do, sometimes I don't have a moment to actually process anything. It's almost like I'm a machine. Something happens, I still have to work. I still have to take care of myself. It's so many other obligations that I have outside of just issues going on. And I think that kind of is a testament to what it's like to adult. We don't get a chance to stop. We don't
Hmm.
get a chance to process. We don't get a chance to think. And I think, when you're growing up, you could kind of take that for granted as a kid where you have different things like spring breaks and holidays where you don't have to think
Yeah.
about your problems and stuff like that. You actually get a day of rest. We don't often get that as adults. And it comes to a point where sometimes
But
you have to,
before you finish that sentence, it comes a time where
yeah,
you have to make yourself stop.
you do.
And I know you tell yourself that, but you really got to make it happen, right?
You
Before you
do.
snap, like we were talking about with Chris and the people on the plane, before you snap, before you lose it all, before something dangerous happens or, just not good for you, you got to stop and make those adjustments, right?
Right. And for me, personally, I make those adjustments before I allow that to affect my work, before I allow that to affect how I treat people I care about, how I treat people that I interact with. I kind of think steps ahead of that because I don't want to end up like, I mean, nobody wants to end up like, the disgruntled passengers that we see on airplanes and stuff like that. Not to say that I was going to do anything
Of
like that
course.
in particular, but I like to take those steps to step back and look at myself and evaluate how this can affect my day-to-day life. So
Mm.
that's pretty much in a nutshell what I was doing during last week.
And Chris, as an adult, you've probably had this. I know I have. So I don't want to speak for you, but knowing and learning the steps and the things that can set you off and how to take care of yourself, right?
Yeah, I mean, everybody has to know where their breaking point is. But like Coy said, she sees herself as a machine. But isn't it more dangerous when other people see you as a machine? Because then you feel like you're letting everybody else down when you are less than mechanical.
Hmm.
Right.
And people to see you as a machine as opposed to a human being.
Right.
It's like, oh, Coy will do it. Oh, Coy will do it. And then Coy takes on and on and on. And then that machine will break.
Exactly.
Michelle Lynn Summerall, probably president of the Coy Malone fan club. She says, Coy, I've been working for 36 years and I learned the hard way to take a break. You got a long time to work or marry well. I love that, Michelle. I
I'm
love
trying to do
that.
both.
Okay. Okay. Well, good luck with that. When you figure out the marry well part, let the rest of us know, will you? Okay. All right. So now that we're getting a sense of how people are and upon Coy's return, Now it's time for the What You Need to Know newsletter. This is our Monday through Friday newsletter. Please take a look at it. It is absolutely free. And it is, well, it's, if you go to SybilWilkes.com, you can subscribe, and we encourage you to do so. And when you get the newsletter, please open it. That makes a big deal too. But that's how we make our money, is on subscriptions, not by the subscriptions, but how many people are subscribing to it. So we really would appreciate if you would take a look at it and subscribe to it and give it as a gift. It's a great opportunity for you to share the information that we give out every day on a regular basis. All right, Coy Malone, you got a story on the What You Need to Know newsletter talking about how it's not a good thing to be the only Black person at a party, because if something bad happens or goes down, you're more than likely to be the person to be blamed for it.
Yeah, and it's something that we hate to say and we don't like to assume, or, really, we don't want to fall into the stereotype, but here we are with the case of Emmanuel Fair back in 2008. He became a prime suspect in the murder of a 24-year-old Indian immigrant woman named Arpana Janaga, and it was at a Halloween party outside of Seattle, Washington, that ended in her sexual assault and strangulation. And because he was the only Black person at this party, when authorities reviewed photos of the party, they zeroed in on him as a suspect, even though there was large amounts of evidence pointing towards other people. So he was arrested in 2010, placed in a holding cell, and did not leave jail for 8 years, 7 months, and 14 days without being convicted of a crime, just purely off of suspicion, because he was the only Black man at this party.
And he had a criminal record. Did he have?
Yes, he also had a criminal record. So
I'm not saying that justifies it, but that was part of it too, right?
That was a part of it, but it was mainly because he was the only Black person there. And one of the detectives, I think they were also quoted by saying that he just didn't belong. This is what the detective said. So, I mean, not to laugh, because it's not funny. It's really
so
not
ridiculous,
funny, but it's ridiculous, right? So he was released in June 2019 when a jury determined that detectives and prosecutors never had a strong enough case against him. And because of that, now he is suing everyone involved in his arrest, including King County, where he was arrested, the city of Redmond, Redmond Police Department, and lead detective Brian Coates, who was the person that said he looked like an outsider at the party. And the lawsuit also claims that detectives ignored and failed to gather evidence that did not align with their theory of the case. So now he's 38 years old, restarting his life, living with an aunt and uncle, and he's doing what a lot of Black men do, which is trying to find work as a Black man, and now as a Black man who has a record behind him.
Wow. And he says, which is a sad statement to make, he says he's out, but he's not free.
Exactly. And that's so sad, because now he spent a greater part of his life, his younger years, in prison. So no matter what he receives through this lawsuit, or even if they decide to settle, it's not going to erase the years of trauma that he had.
No, it's not.
Needless trauma.
And that would be a great thing, Coy, if they did include that in the settlement, that that they pay for his treatment and for therapy, because
for life.
Yeah, because it's going to affect him for the rest of his life.
We started off talking about how we need to take a break. How do we take a break from racism? Like,
man,
I just don't feel like it this week. I don't feel like anything. You know what? I'm not doing anything with racist people this week. I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to talk about it.
Then what island are you planning to go to?
Right. It's impossible. You're right.
We should say that the next time that happens, a racist encounter, event, or something like that, let's just say, I don't feel like dealing with this racism stuff today.
Right. I mean, can't even watch the NBA game. Can't watch the NBA. Man, that white referee hates LeBron. There's nowhere to go.
Man, the coach doesn't like him either. So let's talk
How about that?
about the situation. Of course, as we all know, we now have a black woman who is the justice designate to the U.S. Supreme Court. A big celebration at the White House. She gave a beautiful speech. The president gave a wonderful speech and talking about history as well as him demonstrating that he really does believe in the power of the black woman, as he is flanked by a black justice designate, Ketanji Brown Jackson, and a black woman who is vice president of the United States. That would be Kamala Harris. So during this, I just wanted to talk a little bit about this and the importance of this moment, but also the importance of the future. He recognized her journey just over the days from her nomination to the hearing. He said, "I know the person I nominated would be put through a painful and difficult confirmation process. What Judge Jackson was put through was well beyond that. In the face of verbal abuse, the anger, the assertions, and accusations, Judge Jackson showed the incredible character and integrity she possesses." And that's something we all have to go to work with every day. As black women, as black people, but black women especially, finding ourselves, and no shade, Chris, but I'm just saying from my perspective, we always have to rise above this. We have to show that we have character, we have grace. When people show themselves to be the ugliest of human beings in their treatment of us, in their conduct regarding us. And so he's talking about what a great woman she is, and yeah, she is. And I'm not saying that she would naturally show that grace and dignity, but when it's not fair, damn it, is what
Right.
I'm saying. That these people, can say these things and cast aspersions on her character, not only her character, but her work ethic, her
Right.
judicial sense. And so, but she has moved beyond that. With the president saying, we even got 3 Republicans who saw how the other side was not treating her fairly, even though they said that this particular hearing was going to be above board. It wasn't going to be like the last 2 justices and their hearings, but it got even lower. But my point in all of this, and what I tried to point out in the article, is that we play a role in what happens next, because it is so very important that we recognize the importance of these, and I'm getting back on my soapbox, the importance of the midterm elections. And I say that because were it not for people going to the electoral polls in November of 2020 and electing Joe Biden, and the state of Georgia, thank you very much, Coy, putting 2 men in the Democratic Party representing the state of Georgia, we would never have gotten to this point. And so it's really important that we go to the ballot, go to vote, to register to vote, and to encourage other people to do that. They always, the whole thing over historic election terms has been the fact that the party in power will lose in the midterm election. It's so vitally important that this party does not, if you want to see any kind of progress. And I pointed to the fact that Charlemagne the God was on with the the Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg, and he said how disappointed Black people are, especially because things like the George Floyd bill has not been passed, and we're talking about the election bill, the John Lewis election bill, and it's not for a lack of trying on the part of Democrats in the House. Those things have passed. In the Senate is where the problem is, and because because of the filibuster and needing all of the number of votes, and so this is where it counts. This judge you may never come in contact with Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson. You may never come in contact with Brett Kavanaugh, but you do come in contact with the person. You have responsibility for the person that you put into office that's going to nominate these people. You do have a responsibility to elect the people that are going to pass through the nomination, or that are going to be there to nominate people that look like you, or bills that affect your lives.
And Clarence Thomas has been sick. And right, I'm saying, who knows? Joe Biden may end up with another pick.
And if he does have an opportunity for another pick, do you know what Mitch McConnell said?
Oh, yeah.
He's not going to do anything. It's going to sit there. It's going to sit there just like President Obama's did with Merrick Garland.
Right. Got to get out there and vote.
Sybil, I really wish that you could just like repeat everything that you were just saying within legal distance of voting polls before people
It's got to be
go
a
up and
crime in
vote.
Georgia. It's got to be a crime in Georgia for her to say that outdoors. I mean, the fact that Georgia might elect Herschel Walker.
No.
Are you kidding me?
Well, let us be glad that had people not elected Raphael Warnock in 2020 here, or actually in January of 2021, because he had to go to the runoff. Remember, he's now able to take on the Republican, as you mentioned, Chris, and so I just can't impress upon people enough. And so with that, please take a look at our newsletter, and we give you a rundown of all of the elections, the primary elections that are going to take place in the month of May. And there are a few states involved, starting May 3rd, Indiana and Ohio. May 10th, Nebraska and West Virginia. May 17th, Kentucky, North Carolina, Oregon, and Pennsylvania. I don't know any Black people. You know Black people who are going to be participating in these elections. Idaho on May 19th. Okay, maybe not Idaho. And May 24th, this is really important. This is a southern swing here. Alabama, Arkansas, Georgia, and Texas will have runoff elections on May 24th.
Oh my God. We're in trouble. We're in real trouble.
Chris, we gotta believe. You know, I feel like the little girl. One of my favorite old school Christmas movies is Miracle on 34th Street. And the little girl sitting in the car and she's saying, I believe. And we gotta believe, Chris. We gotta get out there and we gotta make sure that people get out there and do their due diligence. And speaking of due diligence, we also talked about Amir Locke's mother. And this is as a result of prosecutors deciding not to bring charges against the police that killed her son earlier this year. Amir Locke was a 22-year-old Black man staying at a cousin's apartment. The police had a no-knock warrant that came into the apartment. He was sleeping on the couch, and because of his job as a food delivery person, he had a gun. It was legally registered to Amir Locke. He was startled. He had the gun as he's coming out of the blanket, and the police shot and killed him, particularly one man. And so they're not going to bring charges against him. And Amir Locke's mother, one of the bravest women ever, has said, she told the Attorney General of the state, Keith Ellison, a Black man, she told him, I'm not disappointed, I'm disgusted. And so, along with other civil rights leaders, she's going to make sure that that they bring this information to the federal government and see about charges being laid against them in some other way.
Yeah, it was hard to watch Keith Ellison explaining why he can't bring charges. Just, I hated to see him be the one to bear that news to us, but it was his call.
It was his call. He and the Hennepin County attorney and the county attorney, and Chris, it's just and especially after the fact that they brought the charges against Derek Chauvin, and you saw what happened there. And if it were not for Keith Ellison, I doubt that would have ever happened. But in this case, he was trying his best to explain to people, and it was very difficult for me to listen to too, Chris.
I mean, I felt like even if they believed it was a case they could not win, they still should have brought the charges up.
You're right.
You know, just because the family deserves some kind of attempt at justice.
Right. Yeah. And this is this goes on all over the country. But this was one that was particularly difficult, and we'll also talk about something else going on in the Minneapolis area, and always be wanting me Lucky Charms. Well, they're not so magically delicious, because some people are saying that they have been feeling ill after eating their magical Lucky Charms, and so the Lucky Charms people, General Mills says, we've tried to investigate this. We're not finding anything, Chris. But some people are saying we're still getting sick. So they're still investigating these reports of stomach issues and vomiting and what have you.
I've always hated Lucky Charms.
I used to love them.
Really?
As a kid. Yeah, as a kid.
I don't like marshmallows.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I get that.
They used to be great. Oof.
Those are your favorites, Coy?
One of them growing up. but I think the formula changed or something, because when I got older and tried it, I was like, oh, this can't be the same
The change
cereal.
was adulthood.
Maturity.
My mother used to buy the store brand ripoffs.
Oh, right.
The Lucky Charms were called like Magic Stars or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was her thing.
That was-
Like it said Frosted Flakes, but there was a polar bear on the front of the box.
Well, I was boring. I just liked Raisin Bran myself.
I like the Raisin Bran. That's not boring, Sybil.
It's pretty boring, Coy.
You ladies are regular. I mean, real.
And
For
we're
real,
high
you're-
on our iron
For real,
levels,
you're
too.
regular.
For
And
real.
all that
Really
bread.
good for your iron.
And now it is time for what's really going on. This is our question of the day, and we have recently observed National Pet Day. So the question is for
Oh.
folks here and who are listening and watching. National Pet Day. First of all, are you a pet person? Secondly, tell us about your most memorable pet, and that is past or present. And Coy, we'll start with you. Are you a pet person?
I am.
And
even
we
though
know
I
you're a
don't have
plant
one.
person.
Yes. I am definitely a pet person, even though I don't have one now due to my schedule just being all over the place. But I have two very memorable pets. They were both dogs. One was a Doberman mixed with a Labrador. So she looked like a Doberman, but she was nice like a Labrador. She was so friendly. And she would
How friendly was she?
She was
so
friendly. She was so friendly that I think that's how she ended up missing and never returning home. Somebody took her. She just went along with somebody. And I also had a beagle that was very friendly and very goofy, just like me. So for some reason I picked puppies that were just like me. And they were very memorable because they both had these idiosyncrasies. Like the first dog I remember, she would be very afraid of water hoses, and I had a water slide, and she would always run along with me with the water slide, but wouldn't go underneath the water with me. I had to actually physically hold her and get her to go in the water with me, or she would jump in the little pool that the water slide would jump into. It was so fun to see. And then my other dog was really, really silly. The beagle. She would lay on her back and play with toys like this until they would fall, and then jump up and bark like somebody took them from her and look around for the person. I'm like, what are you doing?
Oh.
Just
How
very
old were you
memorable.
when you had the dogs?
The first one I had when I was in second grade, and her name was Sheba. And the second one was named Roxy, and I had her middle school through the beginning of college.
Oh, wow. So Roxy hung around for a while.
She did, and she mostly hung around with my dad because I went to school at Jackson State, the greatest university ever, and I couldn't take my dog with me, so he took care of her as long as she could. And I think she ended up passing away, and my dad didn't want to tell me, so he kept telling me, "Oh, I gave her away to this family that lives on the farm that has a lot of."
Oh, not the farm.
Yes, he gave me that excuse, and I'm like, "Are you?" So after a while, I'm in my 20s, and I'm like, "Dad, are you lying about what happened to my dog? You could tell me that she died. It's okay." He did not want to tell me.
Yeah, your dad was describing doggy heaven.
Right.
It's a big farm.
It's a big farm
where they can get to run around all day
on clouds.
Oh, my dad.
Chris, I know you have a little puppy in your house.
Yes, that will be my favorite dog. The one that was gifted to us by Dr. Sonia Marks, a little Shih Tzu named China, Chyna. For all of our Asian listeners.
Okay.
And she came along during quarantine when we were all going stir crazy and didn't know what we're going to do and if the world was going to survive this whole thing called COVID. And she's been a blessing to our home and a menace to our carpets.
Well, that goes along with it. Was it a puppy? So did you have to do potty training and stuff like that?
No, she wasn't. She's grown.
Oh, that's nice.
She's a grown up, but she's sweet and she's racist.
Dang.
She barks at the white neighbors all day long, and I'm here for it.
That would make her a bigot.
So, Dr. Mark says China hearts. Oh, nice, Doc. Um, so we had a lot of dogs growing up. My dad was a dog person, and so we had a number of dogs. Even as an infant, they brought me home to dogs in the house, and the ones that I can remember. And my mother was not a dog person, but God bless her, went along with us. And so I had a oh, was it a Springer Spaniel? Oh, it was a Cocker Spaniel. That was Frisky. That was the first one. Then
The
we
dog's
had
name was Frisky.
Frisky. Yeah, that was I named it Frisky. We had a German Shepherd that my dad just brought home one day, and that was Snooky. Snooky. And that was named by one of my dad's German coworkers at the firehouse. And Snooky was a great dog. Oh, talk about barking at white people when and this was during a difficult time in the city of Chicago, and like when the Maytag repairman or somebody came to the house and it was a white guy, this dog, ooh, she was not having it. She was not having it. A black person come in, she's like, oh, hey, come on in, but she was not having it with it. And then she gave us puppies,
Oh,
and we were able to keep, well, my dad gave away most of them. We were able to keep one that eventually stayed with us for a little while before my cousins took him in California. But and that was Patches. And then once Snooky, after my dad passed, Snooky stayed with us and then she started to suffer from dementia, and and
oh,
and and my mom put her down. But she gave me another chance at a dog. Actually, she gave me a choice. In 8th grade, I could have a graduation party or a or a dog. She thought for
dang.
sure I was going to go for the party, and I chose the dog. And that was a miniature schnauzer, and that was Sir Lancelot, and he was so great. It was my classical period, Coy. I was studying, the classics and stuff. I guess it was good that we didn't name him King Lear. But it was, and he was such a great dog. And somebody took him when I was away for the summer and in
Oh,
high school. So, and I haven't had a pet since, but I do have god dogs. That would be Lawler and Ramsey. Hello, Ramsey Lewis and Lawler Church. And those are great dogs. And I really want now, because I have a schedule that's a little bit better. I'm just not prepared in my new surroundings to do it yet. But I miss dogs.
Oh.
I
me
really do.
too.
Now let's talk about how much we hate cats.
Okay, Alf. Tell us, Alf, how much do you hate cats?
I hate freaking cats.
I'm not a cat person either.
No, not at all.
They're fun and they're cute as kittens, but to actually have one like in my house that I raise, I don't know. First thing I think about is these guys.
Right.
Right.
And not all cats avoid plants. Some of them like to play,
Yeah.
crawl, scratch, bite,
Jump.
pee,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
poop on. Ugh.
Right.
And I've
Yeah.
seen kittens do that. Literally climb up walls. Their favorite thing is the blinds. You really have to have something, an activity or activity center for them. And sometimes even that is not enough. You have to literally train them how to not jump on counters. Not all
They're
of them, but
counters. And then you can always tell they have cats when they have those damn water squirters, and that'll get them off. But the damage is done. Those damn things are on your counters and all over everything. Oh
And
my God.
the trade-off is not good. Look at everything you guys just mentioned based on how much affection you're going to get from this cat. Right? A dog can mess up your house, but the dog is also going to come hug up on you, lick on your face. They want to be on you. They're fun. The cat just does what they do and say, "Yeah, I did it."
And Chris,
look at
how
you like,
happy is your dog when you come home?
Oh, my dog hates me.
Oh no,
I'm the least favorite.
you're lying.
That
No
dog-
way.
The dog comes to me whenever she wants something. That's it.
To be fed or
When she
walked
wants something or when she's afraid of something,
Oh,
which is
you're-
like storms,
yeah,
lightning, and thunder. Yeah.
yeah.
She's all about me then.
Oh, Well, I'm really curious how people feel about their pets. So please share with us. Let us know how about your favorite pets or pets that you remember, or your current pet. What? And it doesn't have to be a dog or a cat. Nikki J on YouTube says, "I stopped being a pet person when my pet poodle Shaft was stolen.
Oh.
Oh my God, 3 years old. I never got over it. Oh, Nikki."
Oh.
Nikki, Shaft 1, 2, 3. The movies had, newer versions. Come on. Oh, Debbie Boyd on Facebook, my sweet shy bear, 85, will be 13 next month. Child mixed with retriever. Oh, I bet that's a beautiful dog. I
It's
bet there's
got to
just
be nice with that mix because
yeah,
chows are mean.
but with a mix. So
Yes.
so maybe the mix is the personality.
Yes.
Uh-huh. Let's see. Michelle Lynn Summerall on Facebook says Ruby is a 5-pound boss. The only thing she fears is the mop or the vacuum. Ramsey does not like that either. He's not big on all that noise and stuff. Yeah, yeah. And or thunder. That's why he got him a thunder shirt. Shirley Ann Tony Davis. Heck to the no, I am not a pet person. If I told you what I did to cats, I would be in jail, she says.
Serial killer stuff.
Surely leave those cats
Ooh.
alone.
Jeffrey Dahmer got nothing
Right.
on you. Oh
I
my
used to feed
God.
stray cats.
You know what? That's my aunt did too. And that's how she ended up she becoming the cat lady, unfortunately.
Oh.
Rosemary Smith said, I had the little turtles in the clear plastic bowl with the fake palm tree. Remember those? Remember those?
Some
Sweet
people still sell
memories.
them randomly.
Oh, really?
I come across them in Atlanta every now and then. Mm-hmm.
Do they sell them on the street or like in a pet store? Or...
Yeah, on the street, or sometimes I see them on the train. I've seen that. Somebody, I'm like, where do you get all these turtles? And they're literally holding them in the little. Yeah.
Oh, wow. How interesting.
Question: Does the
not seen
woman
that.
who had a dog named Shaft get a prize for having the blackest dog?
Okay.
The
And
blackest dog of the
Yeah.
night?
Yeah.
and let's get her a Shaft too, shall we? Janet Ferguson on Facebook said I had to put my Shih Tzu Bougie down. 9/1/21. She was 15. I'm getting me a new one. Oh, she's getting a new one on Saturday. That is great. I'm
That's
so
the thing,
happy
though.
for
That's
you.
the thing that isn't talked about enough. The amount of grieving that goes on when you
Yeah.
lose a dog. Like
Yeah.
it is like an actual human being has passed away.
Right.
Man, I
Right.
have never experienced that personally because my dogs either ran away or
Went to
got
the
given away
farm.
to the farm. Right, is at the farm. But I saw that happen with my aunt that had this dog named Mai Tai. She had this dog forever. She had this
Mm.
dog forever. And I remember the morning when Mai Tai just didn't wake up. And my aunt
Mhm.
was crying so hard. She was heartbroken. She was, Mai Tai is dead. I'm like, oh God. And
Mm.
she grieved over it for a long time. And then like after a
How
while,
long did she grieve, Coy? Do you
it was
remember?
a few weeks.
Oh,
It was
okay.
a few
Okay.
weeks. It was a few weeks because the dog. I remember this dog as a child, and I think the dog passed when I was like 10,
Mhm.
and I think she might have had the dog before that. So
Oh, for sure.
she had it for a long time. And this dog was old to the point where it had lost like most of its hair. It
Mhm.
was barely like walking around, but it would
Yeah.
follow her around, and
Yeah.
it was a cute little,
I
sweet little dog.
I now get why people, if you got the money, eccentric people will take the DNA from their dogs and try to recreate that dog because you have that
Oh,
kind of bond and connection. I've seen that happen, and I feel that way about Ramsey, Yolanda and Ward's dog Ramsey. I feel that kind of connection to that dog. That I would love to have a dog like that. You're never going to have, guarantee of having a Ramsey too, but just I get it. I get it. And I just I'm looking forward to getting a dog, but it's tough. And shout out to my friend Marcelina Olan. She has been going through a difficult time and recently lost her dog, and it's just breaking her heart. It's
oh.
just absolutely breaking her heart. And it's like losing a member of your family.
I think the next pet I'm gonna get is a snake.
Oh God. Okay. Let me just say one thing.
Like a pythons or a
Yeah,
smaller snake. Okay.
yeah, like a python, something not too big, something that could kind of take care of itself, something that's interesting to watch, something that I don't have to feed that often, but is here.
Can I just ask one thing of you?
Sure.
when we do this show that I never have to see the snake.
Okay. Yeah, I could do that.
Okay. Okay.
I think I'm
would-
just an animal person in general.
Yeah,
So.
I get that. I get that because we've had birds. I've had hamsters.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, as a kid growing up, and we, they go the way of hamsters and that and what have you. But no snakes.
Oh, that
No,
must be
thank you.
awful with a bird. Ooh.
Um, my godmother hated our bird, and so she wouldn't even come into our house when we were like cleaning the cage or doing whatever we need. Oh, just hated
Yeah,
it.
that
Absolutely.
part. Ooh.
Yeah.
Hamsters are like disposable pets.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
They like to get lost too. In your house.
There's no farm for them.
No.
Okay, let's move to it's now time for our topical news. So in topical news, I do want to add one thing. We do have a comment. People say that if you live in an apartment, you have to pay rent for your pet. For example, if rent is $1,000, you have to pay $1,200, and that's an extra $200 a month for your pet.
Mm-hmm.
So, Coy, take that note before you move into your house.
I'm gonna hide it like a fugitive.
All right.
Or you could get it. One of the things that I found out with some places that if it is an emotional support pet, then they waive that fee for you. So
an emotional support snake.
An emotional support snake. This helps me not snap on people and take a week off.
All right. On a serious note, I did mention that things were happening in the Minneapolis area, and I don't know if you guys have noticed today, the date. It was 1 year ago today that Dante Wright was stopped by Brooklyn Center, Minnesota police officer Kim Potter. It was a Sunday, and it was during the Derek Chauvin trial, if you remember that. She tried to stop him as he tried to get back in his car. Potter says that she mistakenly pulled her gun instead of her taser and killed Dante Wright. And we know how that case has gone. She is in jail, but it's more than likely she's going to be out sooner, much sooner than later. Did not get the amount of time that many thought she deserved to get in this case by the judge. Levied the years on her in what is it, 2 years and even less than that. It's a shame.
I can't believe it's been a year.
Yeah.
Seems like yesterday.
Yeah. But doesn't that seem like with a lot of these cases, Coy, it seems like, just time just flies, but it just seems the effects of these cases just stays with us.
Right.
The memories linger and the effects do as well. All right. So the president is targeting, he's saying they're not so friendly, these ghost guns. And he announced a rule that changes the current definition of a gun to include so-called ghost guns. And these are guns that can be built at home. They don't have any kind of identification on them. The rule now puts the same restrictions on the ghost guns that could be ordered online. He said a terrorist to domestic abuser go from a gun kit in as easy as 30 minutes. Buyers are required to pass background checks. In Oklahoma, from the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, Tulsa led the state in the number of ghost guns traced and recovered at almost 2,000 in 2020 alone. The city of Chicago has gone through that as well and having a difficult time. And a lot of the guns that they find in the murders, in the carjackings and what have you, there's no way to point them back to anyone.
What is the NRA's position on ghost guns? Like,
right?
Are they against it? Hopefully.
Really, Chris?
I mean, they don't get any money from it.
No, they don't.
They just get support.
No,
they just get support from it.
But they seem to support everybody except for black gun owners.
Right.
And so the president is trying to make it so that when you recover a gun from a crime scene, the ATF says that they have been able to trace less than 1% than the 1% of ghost guns reported by law enforcement. They're legal to own in a lot of states. And so as a result, the president and the attorney general and the ATF are working to bring some structure to to the ghost guns that you can build at your home?
Structure, some more weapons in a
Well,
highly
yeah,
weaponized.
yeah, and we have the Second Amendment, and so if you're allowed to have guns, then they're trying to bring some sort of rules down on the people that are evading the system and not identifying themselves and what have you. I don't know. It seems to be a very frustrating situation, Coy.
So there needs to be a lot more done with gun regulations. And I get trying to make sure everybody is registered, but why allow for people to continue making them? This has
Hmm.
become a problem to the point where we're so desensitized to gun violence happening. I just saw that an 11-year-old boy was shot at a skating rink on Saturday right outside of Atlanta and is recovering. And I'm just like, what more is it that we can do to stop this? Why is it a thought that, well, one way to stop it is to make people register that make the guns at home? I think that's a great idea. It's not.
I don't know how you go back in this society when our gun culture, if I can use that term, is so prevalent. And to ignore it, I guess you can't do that. But registration, Chris, is that the answer?
I'm sitting here wondering, of the people who have been arrested or detained or whatever legal problems for owning a ghost gun, I wonder what the demographics of those people are.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it were a lot of black people with ghost guns, then they'll treat it just like they did coronavirus. It makes people less interested in doing anything about it
Yeah,
when they find out that black people are the victims.
yeah, yeah, exactly right. And
And
that's a
then are
sad fact.
and then all these people really gonna say, since they say I have to register now, I'm gonna go do it.
Mm,
No.
mm-mm, mm-mm. Chris, let me ask you about this horrific story and the sad death of Dwayne Haskins. This is the 24-year-old football player, professional football player, uh, was with the Pittsburgh Steelers, died when he was struck by a truck Saturday morning as he tried to cross a highway in South Florida. So that's tragic enough. But the way that the story was revealed, people have taken a lot of a lot have put a lot on the people that revealed the story, specifically Adam Schefter from ESPN.
Right.
He's taken a lot of heat for it. People who have come out with their comments about it, old football players, and it's like, what is it about this case? It's tragic enough. Here's a kid who had such great potential at Ohio State, did work out well with Washington, was hopefully on the come up with Pittsburgh, and suddenly was working out with his teammates in Florida and died in a traffic accident.
Right. Certain people who cover the NFL, they decided that the most important thing about the story of Dwayne Haskins dying was that he struggled as a professional football player. Like that was the thing to talk about, that he didn't come in and as rookie of the year or anything like that. No, but first of all, let's talk about his career. He was an outstanding college
Oh
quarterback.
my God, Ohio
Still
State.
one of Ohio
Yes.
State's greatest quarterbacks ever. And okay, he came to the NFL and he was going through some stuff and it wasn't quite working out, but that has no bearing on who he was as a man, as a human being, loved by his teammates. Everybody in Pittsburgh, where he ended up, had nothing but great things to say about him. But you're talking about this guy, Gil Brandt, who's like a
Yeah.
90-year-old former NFL when they wore leather helmets
Right. No,
player.
it's true. It's true, Coy.
Right.
I mean, that's how far back he
Right. That's
goes.
just funny to think about.
Right, but he's saying crazy stuff like if Dwayne Haskins had stayed in college longer, he wouldn't have been doing stupid stuff like jogging on the highway.
Mm.
Like what?
It's crazy. Adam Schefter, when he reported it, of course, it's really important to be first to report this story. And he deleted the tweet in which he said that he was a struggling quarterback or struggling to catch on in the NFL. And people went after him, and good they did. Lamar Jackson, he said at Adam Schefter, "You lame ASF as are all around grown A man, and you can look in the mirror and smile at yourself." He said that he wishes that he could take it back. It was insensitive. It was a mistake. And I can assure you it was not my intention. I wish I could take that tweet back. That's the same thing. I mean, it's always like, you got to be first. You got to have
Right.
that tweet up first, right?
That's what Adam Schefter is known for. He's one of the highest paid football NFL insiders. But it also goes to show you that a lot of people who cover professional sports, they don't see black athletes as even being people.
No.
They're just assets. They're just, like, he didn't see Dwayne Haskins as a young man, as a human being. He saw him as an NFL bust.
It's struggling to catch on in the NFL, he said. He tweeted.
Right.
It just breaks my heart. It just breaks my heart that this kid, with just so much. I mean, 24.
That's sad.
If it's not in the NFL, God knows he had a great promise somewhere else. But to let that be the last sentence in describing him,
right? And the old guy was talking about how to show you that Dwayne Haskins was out of control and a wild man. One time in college, he had a bowling party and charged people $50 to get in. I'm like, so what?
Dude, what?
They don't have any money when they're in college, and they weren't allowed to get money back then.
Okay.
When he was playing. If he got $50 a head for a bowling party,
good on him.
Good for him.
Right.
But that doesn't show he's some kind of maniac who deserves death.
That's just such
Those leather helmets did not serve them well back then.
You know what? I would like to it's just a very sad. So let us take a moment and just say our sorrow and give our good wishes to his family. And sorry about him. And I think he was married, Chris.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
He was.
Yeah. And just a very sad ending. But let us respect his family and especially his wife and his family in this ending, and wish them nothing but the best. And let's use him, to remember him in a positive way, and for all of the and encourage them to share the good and positive stories about this young man.
And I also celebrate the athletes like Lamar Jackson, who immediately spoke out. Like, again, Adam Schefter is one of the most powerful NFL insider.
Yeah.
And Lamar Jackson said, to hell with that. I don't care what you can say about me or write about me in the future.
Yeah.
I'm telling you how I feel about this.
Now. Right.
He says he wish he could take it all back. It's too late. You were too old and too professional in this business to be able to get away with doing something like that.
They always wish they can take it back when they get called out.
Oh, okay.
Adam Schefter, by the way, is the same NFL insider who did an article about the Washington football team and sent the article to the Washington football team so they could proofread it and make any changes they wanted to make to it before he released it.
What?
You shady bum.
And that's being nice, Chris. Last thing we do want to talk about, Coy, and this is something we've talked about for a while. Remember SoHo Karen?
Yes.
Who falsely accused the Black teenager of stealing her phone.
Oh, yeah.
At the New York hotel.
Junior, yeah.
Son, yes.
She's a horrible human being. The interview she did afterwards, she's a horrible person.
With Gail King?
Horrible.
Enough.
Gail, enough.
Right.
Well, she's reached a plea deal and she avoids jail time.
Nah.
She accepted a plea deal from prosecutors, which will require her to live a law-abiding life for 2 years. She entered the guilty plea, has agreed to continue with therapy and follow the terms of her probation while living in California.
Where's the punishment?
She has to be a law-abiding citizen, which might be difficult.
She's probably getting rich off of this. She probably made an OnlyFans where people can view it and guess where her phone is.
So, for those who are wondering, Maya Ponsetto was charged with hate crime after she went viral for attacking then 14-year-old Keon Harold Jr., and she wrongly accused him of stealing her iPhone, and the phone was returned, as we saw on screen there. It was caught on camera. She went after the teen in the lobby of the Arlo Hotel in Soho. But this wasn't her first run-in with the law, but this was certainly the most viral. So
Ridiculous.
it is ridiculous. All right, so that's what's going on in the world, and let us now move to take a look at entertainment. This
Something
is
light.
Really? Did anybody slap anybody this week?
not this week. No,
Okay.
it's been a slow week.
Okay.
It's been a week of celebration. However, the stars of Blackish. This is they're coming down to their final episodes of the very successful TV sitcom. They were celebrated at the Smithsonian National Museum of African American History and Culture. They had a red carpet series finale event at the museum in DC, and following a screening of the finale, they also had a panel discussion. And throughout its farewell season, Blackish continues to tell stories that shine a light on the current events in the lens of the Johnson family. Of course, Anthony Anderson as Dre Johnson and Tracy Ellis Ross as Rainbow Johnson. Was this a show for you guys to watch?
I started off as one. I don't know why I drifted away from it,
Mm-hmm.
but I always enjoyed it.
Same.
I love the sense of history that they gave. Bringing to the mass public about Juneteenth and talking about growing up in white neighborhoods and what have you, and the difficulties of their children as being raising their children as black children in these white atmospheres and as well as at the workplace that both Dre and Bo faced as well as their children, and it spawned some good stuff too.
Yeah. But I think when all the kids got to be in their late 30s, I said, let me stop watching this. They look a little oldish.
Well, and you know what? I think that's the name of the next spinoff. I think the grandparents
Uh,
are, are going to go off and do their own thing, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's called Oldish. They had Grownish, Blackish, Grownish, and now Oldish. So, unfortunately, the spinoff that Tracy Ellis Ross's story, her character's story, Rainbow, was not as successful with Tika Sumpter, but I thought it was quite good actually, and but it didn't make the cut. So it was on for maybe a full season. I'm not sure. Tiger Woods, Tiger, shining bright, had. A year ago, many people didn't think that he would walk on his own two legs again
Right.
after a horrific golf accident. Ended up making the cut at the Masters. Did not, he finished maybe 47th on Sunday, but he cleaned up. Well, no, he didn't clean up, but his golf clubs used during the Tiger Slam got a pretty championship level price. The golf clubs he once owned, the old clubs that he used in the Tiger Slam in those couple of years, won irons and wedges, including a number of wedges actually, and both wedges have Tiger stamped on them. So his name, and the club that got the most attention is the 8-iron because of its use. The set sold. Anybody want to take a guess?
A few million.
A few million, 5 million.
Wow.
$5,156,162 at
Wow.
auction. With those clubs, he won the U.S. Open, the British Open, the PGA Championship in 2000 to become the second golfer since Ben Hogan to win 3 majors in 1 year. He then made the turn in 2001 and won the Masters, becoming the first to hold all 4 professional major golf championships at the same time and using those clubs. And now somebody is going to, because I think somebody else had possession of them, got $5 million in the deal.
And it was Tiger's worst performance ever at the Masters, but people judge victory. Victory is through the eyes of the victorious ones. For him, it was a great victory because, like you said, he wasn't even going to be able to walk again.
Right.
So just that he was able to participate, it just shows you his own level of greatness. It wasn't about the green jacket.
Yeah. It was he has tremendous spirit, tremendous will of spirit, and certainly gave us a great glimpse of that. And think about this, walking
Right.
18 holes for 4 days.
That's all he wanted to do. He wanted to play golf and get more porn stars. That's all. It's a victory for him.
Damn it.
I'm about to walk by some more options out here.
You thought he played.
Yeah.
You thought he played 18 holes on Sunday. You should have seen him Saturday night.
Dang
Too
it.
funny. Too funny. Too funny. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to close with Yogi's Jewel. And this is really inspired by our friend Elena Botley. And so Yogi's Jewel for the day: never let the things you want make you forget the things you have.
I swear I thought you said Elena Bobbitt first.
Botley.
Okay.
Botley.
The jewel still works for Elena Bobbitt too, by the way.
Oh, that's funny. So never let the things you want make you forget the things you have. Young Coy?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. It was a fun day. I appreciate you guys as always, and I appreciate your time.
We
Have a
appreciate
good one.
you. You too.
Oh, thank
I had
you
a
so
great
much.
time.